So welcome once again to the Caribbean Junior Culinary Conference. This conference is held in Barbados annually and brings together all of our aspiring young chefs from across the Caribbean. This event includes workshops and seminars designed specifically for our young culinarians. There is also the Caribbean Junior Dueling Challenge, which forms part of this great conference for our youth.
All right, good morning. Welcome you all here to the conference. I hope that we are able to get you to learn something new. If you don't learn anything new, that's your own fault. I try hard to teach you. So, again, my name is Chef Döös. I'm an instructor at the Career and Technical Education Center in St. Croix. I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 years experience in the culinary industry. Worked all over the world, and I do something that I tell all my students, and this is to learn something new on a daily basis. It doesn't matter what it is, but try to learn something new. One thing that you do, you're all on these little devices all day long. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing on these things, but that is the new communication device. The nice thing about them is to let you go on the internet, learn something new every day. Learn something about things that you don't know. No, so today we're going to talk a little bit about molecular gastronomy. Molecular gastronomy is a term that was really invented a few years back. Adrian Ferra and a few other guys were really into the idea of taking food down to the molecular level to see what does food do, the molecular structure of food, and can we manipulate it? Can we add something to that to make it differently? Can we deconstruct something? Say if you have your dish from your island and you want to deconstruct that. Say your dish on the island would be a clam chowder, right? So how would you deconstruct the clam chowder? Well, you could go and make a really good clam stock. You could take your clams and you could poach them, put them on a plate. You could add some cream that you did something to it, like maybe whip it with some stuff, put that on the cream. In the end, you have all the components of that dish on a plate, and now you have a deconstructed clam chowder. And I put that in front of a customer and say, this is a clam chowder. Say, what? Yes, but if you put it all back in the cup and mix it together, then you have clam chowder, right? So that's a deconstructed clam. Now, Farah took it a little bit further. One thing that, for instance, I thought it was completely nuts, is when he took the skin on top of milk. You know when milk forms a little skin? Most of us take that off and throw it away, right? Well, he had actually a cook making milk in little cups and taking the skin off the milk and then fill the milk skin with a airized foie gras. So you take the foie gras and they aerate it, so there's a lot of air in it, and then they filled that onto the little piece of milk, folded it back over, put it in the freezer. And then just before they served it, they somehow heated it up, and when you put it in your mouth, you had this explosion of flavor. You got the creaminess from the milk because it melted, right? And then after that came the foie gras. It's like, holy moly, right? Why are you laughing? You know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so I'm not trying to do that. I would never try to go and get anything close to that. But I want to go and talk about a few things today. So one of the items we want to make today is we want to make some caviar pearls out of balsamic vinegar. We are going to make some shirataki noodles. Shirataki noodles are noodles which have no calories and no carbohydrates. The product is made from the starch of a white yam that grows in Japan. So first thing we want to do is we want to take 2/3 of a cup of balsamic vinegar, and with that we're going to go and add 2 grams of agar. Agar is anybody can help me out here? What is agar? It's this stuff. Anybody? Agar? Agar is derived from a seaweed, and agar is really good. Any vegetarians in here? No vegetarians? Great. Anyway, but vegetarianism or vegan is a big thing these days. And if you use cello, you know most of the cello is made either from beef or pork. You can get fish too, but if you're vegan, you can't have either one of those three. Agar, on the other hand, is made from seaweed, and it is usable for a vegetarian or vegan as well. So what we want to do is we want to bring this to a boil. And agar, in order for it to has a thickening agent, it needs to cook. There are other products on the market that you actually can put into cold items and they thicken it as well without cooking. All right, so we're cooking this quite nicely here. Bring it up, that nice to thing. Now I did modify this a little bit. I got to tell you, we couldn't find any nice red balsamic. We only found white, so we had to modify it. It's now no longer white. So what I did, I added a little bit of soy sauce to it to get a little bit of darker color, and we added some sugar into it to make it a little quicker sweet, because otherwise it would stand here for the next 3/4 of an hour and cut this down to a nice thick product. I just want to make sure that this is heated up well through it and cooks a little bit more here without making a mess out of this brand new stove, which is a beautiful thing, by the way. And then as soon as this has gotten cooked a little bit more, we're going to put that in the refrigerator and cool it down. So in the meantime, let's go and talk a little bit about shirataki noodles. Like I said, I want to go and try to get this through within an hour. So noodles, generally when we make noodles, what you would use? What would you make noodles with? Anybody help me out here? We use what? Semolina for nice Italian pasta, or flour, right? All purpose will work fine. Some oil will work fine, some water will work fine, depending on what kind of noodles you make. Southern Italian noodles, water and flour, a little bit of oil. Northern Italian noodles, we add some eggs in there, right? Then you make your dough. You knead the dough well, you let it rest for a little while, and then you take it back out, you put it through a pasta machine, and you roll that sucker out and cut it into the shapes that you like. That is the conventional way of making pasta. And we're going to go make it a little different today. All right, would you take that? I need this back, please. The whisk, and this needs to go in the refrigerator for a second. All right, so what we're going to do today, we're going to make pasta a little different. So we're going to use the powder here, which is kind of looks like starch. If you can see this, I'm going to leave this here for you to see afterwards. It just looks like cornstarch. And we're going to use 3 cups of cold water. Bring me my water, please. So we're going to go and use our measuring spoons, and in gastronomical cuisine, put it in the bowl. Or, yeah, put it in the bowl. It's better in there. Okay, I measured this out before. That's 3 cups of cold water. So we're putting 2.5 tablespoons of this stuff in here. That's 1. That's 2. And here goes a half for good luck. All right, so we're going to go and mix this fairly quickly. And that's really, if you can close your eyes, what I have here is flour, eggs, olive oil, all the good stuff, right? All right, now one of the processes of this is it needs heat. And generally what I would do is would put this on the fire, and I would cook this for probably about 15 minutes on low heat while I constantly stir it. But I really don't have the time because we have other things to do. And so you see the velocity of this? See how it's getting thick? So now it starts to go and be stupid, because now if I don't mix it really quick, it starts to get lumps. All right? So after being that far, we're just going to let it stand. We're done. Okay, so we want to do a velocity test. And what we're going to do is we're going to run a spoon through our noodles. Just nice and slow. We can go this way. All right? And what I'm looking for is this going back together. It looks like it's going back together, so we're going to say this works. Okay? So one of my lovely assistants over there, please. Microwave assistant. If you would do this for me. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to get this into the microwave. Right? Here is your fork. Put it on for 2 minutes, or put it on for 3 minutes. Every 10 seconds, I want you to go and check temperature. All right. While that happens, Let's go and work on our balsamic. Would you give me the balsamic vinegar and the olive oil? All right. So, in order to make these balsamic pearls, or balsamic caviar if you want so, we're going to do olive oil, which is very, very cold, because what we want to do is we want to go and suck up the vinegar, and we want to drop it into the oil. So when it drops in, the droplet makes a little pearl, right? All right, something like this. And now we're going to drop it into the, oops, not so fast. Ooh, this is going to be small caviar. This is going to be beluga. All right, there we go. All right, so all we're going to do is drip this into our oil. Made those before? Anybody? No? Okay. Ever ate strawberries? Like strawberries? You get some caviar with the strawberries today. Yummy. Okay. Now, that particular pasta that I make, right? You know what tofu is? Right? Tofu is made from soy. Problem with soy is that soy is usually, most of the soy that you buy today is going to be GMO soy. So it's really not good for you anymore. Actually, Romana, you know, you could keep on doing this, right? Just squirt this in here in droplets, right? Make it right, I'm gonna yell. High up, nice and slow. Let me check what you could do over here. Let me see. Stir it. Yeah. All right, yep, get it in there, it's not warm enough. Just keep on going, give it 20 seconds and let it go. All right? So, while that goes on, let me go and just chop up some more of this chicken over here before we get this into a danger zone. We're just looking for a little bit of chicken breast here today. So when I feed you, I'm just going to go and cut this into small pieces so we get it fairly quickly cooked, so that we all can taste a little bit of our shirataki noodles in a decent amount of time without much to do. Now we do have a couple of vegetables and they're already cut up, so we don't have to worry about that. We're going to use this here. Okay, that goes back in the refrigerator for now. So what I need to do for the next step, and that is the lime. This is pickling lime, which is what you use to make pickles. And like I said, you can use baking powder, baking soda, which will work for you that well. All right, and to that I'm going to do my pickling powder here. So 1/4, 2/4, about a half. For good luck. All right, and this we're just going to go and move around a little bit and dissolve in a tablespoon of water. Simple as that. Crazy stuff, huh? So it just looks like a slurry. All right? So this is kind of warm, right? 120, 115 right now. So what I'm doing now is I want to kind of loosen that down, and look what it looks like, right? It looks like goo, right? So what I'm trying to do this is get down a little bit more, about 90 degrees. So we want to go and just kind of move this around a bit and get it a little bit softer. And you can see the consistency has gotten pretty thick from what it was before, and it will get a little bit thicker once I put that powder in it, okay? A little bit more down on the temperature. And yes, I could have made this ahead of time and do the TV saying and say we take it out underneath the refrigerator or out of the oven. But that doesn't give you the idea. So this time it doesn't have any flavor, no smell, no nothing at all, right? So I want to go and give that a little bit of taste. So we're going to put some seasoning in this pot when we cook it. And we're going to add a little bit of lemon pepper here and a little bit of salt. There you go. Rachel Ray said you have to throw it back and you know, for good luck, you know. So we're just going to go and and see if we can get a little bit of flavor in there, but they really don't taste like anything. You ever heard of glass noodles? In essence, that's what I'm making, right? So, just getting the temperature down. So, meantime, once these noodles are done, they need to be dried. And what we do, we're going to use a non-stick saute pan, no oil, no nothing. We're just taking the noodles out of the water, throw them in that pan, and dry them a little bit. During the drying process, they start to firm up. They start to become like an al dente spaghetti. And then the nice thing about it is they stay that way, even though you put them in sauce. Once you cook them, you can't overcook them anymore. That's it. Done. The only way you can really screw it up is in the process. Now this makes about, I would say this probably makes about about a pound, a half a kilo of noodles. A nice amount of noodles for a guy like me, right? Or maybe 2 people then. So here I'm going to put now, okay. I'm going to put my pickling spice to that, right? And I just put it on top. And I'm going to keep doing the same thing that I did before. And I want to do maybe about 70 strokes. And as you can see now, this is becoming lumpy. And the longer I mix, the doughier it's going to get. So we're right about here. So now what we're going to do is, while this is nice and warm, we're going to put it in our pasta press. Would you give me a hand? So I'm going to fill this into the pasta press here. You want to hold this thing and hopefully it's going to go in and not anywhere else. And shove it, knock it a little bit so all the air comes out. Right. Keep on knocking. There's going to be a little left over. The recipe is going to have a little bit left on it. So, oops, pretty full. All right. So, pasta is in, and now we're going to our lovely pot of water. We're going to start squeezing pasta. Still doing good. Move. Gonna be some long fat spaghetti here. Okay. Mamma Lucia's pasta, eh? And that's it. Okay. So, let's assume that we have enough cookery done on these noodles. Would you go and strain these noodles for me and bring them right back? All right. Meantime, we'll start with our onions. We want to glaze them a little bit. Going to use a couple of garlic things in there as well. Huh? So, all we do with these here now is we're going to go and dry them out. We're going to add some peppers in here. We got some yellow, green, and red. Bring me the chicken, please. Thank you. All right. Stir fry. And here we go with our noodles. You're supposed to say, ah. Ah, there you go. So, we're still drying these noodles. See how they start becoming firm now? They start looking like spaghetti. All right, we're going to build a little bit of sauce. And for the sauce today, we're going to go and make a little bit peanut. You like peanut sauce? So we add some peanut to this. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich right here. Okay. We are about 5 minutes before we finished. So we're good. So we have some peanut in here. I told you we're cooking a little Chinese food. We add some soy sauce. That's going to be our sodium, our salt. All right. All right, very good. Just for the heck of it, we'll give it a little bit more salt, a little bit more lemon pepper, because that's what we started out with. Noodles go in here. We're just going to make this a community dish. Everybody come and get a fork and a plate, and then pull a little bit off of the stuff off and try it. Please go and try your low calorie. The only calories you get from that is from the chicken breast and a little bit of vegetables. And the peanut, of course. All right, but the noodles have no calories whatsoever. So enjoy it. Thank you for being here.
For you pastry lovers, here's a lesson in laminated doughs with certified executive pastry chef and master baker, Manfred Schmidtke.
So what laminated doughs are, they are layers, and if there are layers of dough, fat, and dough. Okay? Do you understand that concept? And all the way up to, in puff pastry, you have 1,280 layers in there. But what I'm doing today, I'm not going to go that long. I'm going to do a Danish dough for you. I'm sorry, a croissant dough for you and a Danish dough for you. But my laminated dough and the recipe that you have in there, which I love for you to make, because it's so simple to do, just follow the directions. Mine has 81 layers of dough and fat, dough and fat, dough and fat. And I want to show you how to get there. I want to show you how to make some amazing croissant. I want to show you how to make a really, really great laminated dough. Good? So I'm going to show you how to make it in 3 stages. So you see, I'm going to make the dough first, okay, from scratch, by hand. These are your best tools, right? Then I'm going to roll it in. Now this dough that I'm going to make, and I want you to take notes. I need you to take notes. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to make a croissant dough. So you go onto the page of the croissant dough right there, because I want to show you. So the first thing, how many of you have croissants? Seriously, I asked this question earlier, but pretty much everybody knows what a croissant is, right? Yeah. Danish pastry, everybody knows what Danish pastry is. Crispy, flaky, crunchy, it's supposed to be. Good, right? Look, a croissant, there's a lot of history in this one. If you ever look it up, it's a matter of, this was achieved by teasing the Turkish government, the country of Turkey. If you have a look, and you can look it up on your cell phones, the Turkish flag resembles a half crescent moon. Have you seen that? Like it's a crescent moon, and a lot of people have that as a symbol. But it was a matter of a tease, and this is a very short story. It was a matter of a tease to tease the Turkish people. The bakers were awarded to make a pastry in the shape of victory. The victory was that Hungary won the war against Turkey. And the bakers were allowed to make a pastry to tease the Turks. And what did they do for a lifetime? Up until this point, the croissant was invented in a very primitive way, without butter like we're going to do today. Okay? So that's just a real quick synopsis on it. You look it up. It's such a great history on croissant and Danish, actually. So, anybody mixed dough by hand before? Yeah? Okay, good. So it's kind of a workout. You know that, right? Yeah. But these, like I keep telling you, these are your best tools, when you make a dough. And I at first said, Peter, I need a machine up here. I want to make sure that, I don't work myself to death over here. But it is a workout. Now, the key about laminated dough, however, the difference is that it is not mixed over and over and over again. It's not mixed that much because it is a tender, it's supposed to be tender kind of dough. So the more you mix a product, the tougher it gets. So thereby, when I do this, I said, you know what, I take that back. I don't really need to work it that long. I'm just going to work it until it comes together and get a little body into it, and then I'm going to refrigerate it for 24 hours. Remember this, refrigerate your dough for 24 hours. So by doing this, I hope this table is level. If not, it's okay. Then I'm just going to go ahead, do this at home. You can use this, your mom's counter, or make a little well like this. Take your yeast on the outside. This is instant yeast. That's the beauty of it. You all have the same product, instant yeast, down here. Then you have basically your water right here. You throw that into the well, and now I can tell whether the table is level or not. And then I have a little milk. My border holds up strong. Sugar, a little bit of sugar in there. Right, a little salt on the edge. Take a little bit of butter in there. If you don't have it, you can use also oil. So I'm going to mix this. From the side, take your hand. Just kind of work out without breaking the border. If I break the border, I'm going to wear it on my pants because everything is going to come run down here. Okay, so when you got this all together, the butter in a minute is going to come together. And the reason I did this, I could have had a machine. I want you guys to do this at home. You don't have, how many of you have a machine at home? I know, not that many. So just go in circles, grab it like this. And see, it doesn't run. Place the butter. You notice that my students always love to do two hands. This is I always say, the white collar worker, blue collar worker. This one gets all the stuff and stays nice and clean. Okay, so now I'm going to add it all together. Looks complicated? Not really, right? No mixer needed. Now this is a half a batch. This will make about a good 15 3-ounce croissants for you. Use the scraper as your tool. If you don't have this, go to Home Depot and grab a metal stainless steel spatula. They're about half the price in this. Okay? Now the fat on the side right here, you see that fat? A big block of butter? That I call, and you have that on your recipe, that is the name of that's called a lock-in fat. Okay, now when you work a dough, you kind of like take it and you move it until it comes nice and clean. This table should be super clean at the end. You can make a bread dough. If you want to make French bread, if you want to make a rye bread, if you want to make white pan bread, this is the way to do it. This is like 3 loaves of white pan bread right here. If you want to make a quick bread, Now the water, you don't need a mixer. Use this as like a rag. Wipe down the table, right? All clean. And this is what dough? What dough? Yeah. See the table? What I'm building now, ladies and gentlemen, is gluten. Okay? And that's it. That was all you had to do to get the dough. Dry it up. Make a ball. Voila. Take this. Grab a sheet pan. And then this has to rest for how long? Good. Mission accomplished. This is made with your flour here. I have no special ingredients, okay? That means you can use your all-purpose flour. You see how I'm out of breath a little bit? But you can use your all-purpose flour. I didn't bring any special ingredients. I mean, I brought it scaled out, but it's all the same thing. Flatten it out. Put it here, nice and square block. And 24 hours. 24 hours later, this dough is going to look like this. What I'm going to do now is it's called one lock-in. I'm going to give a prize at the end of the day here if you can tell me how many layers follow me with the amount of layers that are in this particular dough, okay? I'm going to start off with 3 layers. Don't roll this any. Consistency of this dough should be cold, right from the refrigerator. I mean, if you now have a very soft kind of dough, the one that I just made, the butter in here would just squash out. Okay? So here's the lock-in fat. It's already made into a little block that kind of like resembles, it has to be, write that down, the same consistency as the dough. Take this fat and add it to your dough. Have a little border around your dough. Don't worry about this. And close it shut. This is what we call a 3-layer lock-in, okay? And what I mean with that is, look, 1 layer of dough, 1 layer of fat, and another layer of dough. Total layers of? 3. So calculate with me then, okay? So when you have that in there, you don't have to like seal this or bend this over like this. You just kind of roll this out. First fold, first letter fold. To even this out, you can basically cut this, place it here, and fold it over. How many layers do I have? You think? 9. Thank you very much. Turn it again 90 degrees. A little flour on the bottom. Foot on the bottom. Next layer. How many layers do I have? 27. What do we do with this dough? Turn it 90 degrees. Last turn. The last one, you always take your time on that. Make a nice one. If the dough gets stubborn on you, like because it's getting tired now, right? Turn it around. Voila. You don't need the flour in there. Fold it. Fold it. How many? 81. First one over here. Absolutely. So I have 2 types of doughs in here. I have a croissant. This is 24 hours later. And out of this one, I already rolled it out, so I wouldn't have to do it again. Otherwise, I'm going to be out of breath here in a minute. You can take also, you ever like ham and cheese? But I want to show you, this is like regular ham. And we're going to make, this is a savory, okay, a croissant. Over there, a little bit over there. Then I'm just going to take the roller and I'm going to cut it into triangles. You can look that, can you see that? Can you see the triangles? I'm going to make some of the plain croissants and chocolate croissant, or make an expansion gap. See, they all have like a cut. So we roll this up. And you notice that the croissant is now rolled up with the ham all throughout. Okay, so the next one we're going to do some other pastries. This is the same dough that I just made, just relaxed. I did everything in stages already, so you wouldn't have to actually wait 48 hours. So these were savory items. Now I have to tell you, I'm not done, and I don't want to be done because I have a lot more to tell you, okay? So don't give up on me yet. So you know that butter that I just put in, right? That butter that I locked into the dough before? Man, there's so much you can do. Be inventive. Don't just create the croissant that is already created. But now be inventive. Now is the time to say, you know what? Let me put something else into the fat versus just the fat. So if I took sun-dried tomato and I put them throughout the butter, now I'm going to have the whole butter in a sun-dried tomato. Say again? Yeah, garlic butter. You know, get that put a different twist to it. You know, and that's really what you want to create. You know, when you say, do you remember how I made the dough earlier? I'm trying to spark this. When I made the dough earlier with water, you saw the water in there, right? Give me a different option besides water. That's boring. Wine, right? You could use wine, red wine. What would that do to the dough? Turn it red, number one. Give it flavor, but you have to be a little careful with the acidity. You gotta make a couple of balances, but you know what? That's the exploring that you're doing. The fat is a great conduit to different flavors. Put chocolate in that fat. Yes, balsamic reduction in there. Oh my God, that's a great flavor. Absolutely. You know, so you have the butter, right? So in the KitchenAid, you add a little bit of the raspberry puree into it, or a pesto into the butter, or a tomato base, or, you know, chicken broth, beef broth, you know, into it. Not going crazy on it, but you're flavoring it differently. I'm going to show you now the traditional style of croissants. Leave this for some other pastries. What's this gap called? Expansion gap, right? So you can make the croissant the way it should look. Now, this is no filling, but what you do is you stretch it out. You start on the bottom, you hold onto the croissant, and you turn it. So now you have 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write that down. That's what a croissant should have. 5 steps. Not like this. Watch. When you are like this and you see your students in your kitchen making croissants and they go like this, what do you do? Thank you. Thank God. Exactly what I want to hear. Yes. Okay, so you pull the tongue and you line it up. Bada bing. Miss Ferguson, how about you come up here and make some croissants with me? Come on. Hands are washed, right? Good. And you can come here. I'll give you a quick lesson on how to do this. So what you do is you fold it over, right, like this. You roll it once, and then you hold the tongue, and then roll it up and right in the center. And then when you have it on the bottom, get the maximum out and put it like that. Okay? Mini strudel, right? Apple, like apple? Raspberry? Guava? So you can take these, and what you want to do is you want to cut the sides right here for like a little strudel. So it's just like, you could use a pizza cutter too. I like a knife cut on croissants. Why? It's because it gives me a nice clean cut. Take this. Don't overdo it with the filling. This is the raspberry jam, right? So we have some raspberry, make a couple different flavors right there. And then you take the end, you go over top. Hold it and go over top. Crisscross, that's right. Crisscross over top. No, doesn't matter. Okay, then you have a little that. And you can actually curve them like that, you know, so you have like a little horseshoe. And when they grow out like that, okay, key is not too much filling. Because you remember, over the entire piece you have a lot. You guys ready? Here, make those in raspberry. And I want to show you this tool because I started talking about it. So I dipped this in flour. And I had a cookie cutter. And then what you can do is you can roll this. You can open this up. And put this, that's guava actually, I think. Take the same kind of filling here. And put a little egg wash on the side as well. So we'll make 2 of those. Put this on top. And then that will open up as it starts to expand, and then you have like another type of strudel that you can make any size. Remember that you can also do this with a savory filling. That was basically a croissant dough. So on the Danish itself now, I'm going to make some different types of snail Danish, okay? And you'll see a lot of times it says use a butter wash. I personally don't like to use a butter wash. I like to use like an egg wash. And what happens is if you put cinnamon sugar on it, with butter it melts out. So then we're going to take some cinnamon sugar. You can also use your own spice, or again chocolate or cake crumbs or How am I doing on time there, sir? Good. Fold it over. A little flour. Make a couple of other. Roll it in. Cut it into strips. I used to do these in my own bakery for at least 20, 30 sheet pans on a weekend, easily. I'm going to try to make a few different styles so you can get a couple pictures. So take these, and again, we twist them with more cinnamon or chocolate or any kind of flavor you're going to get them. And then what you do is you kind of like make the twist. And what you do is you don't want to unravel it by going the other way around, because if you go the other way around, then it just does the unfolds. So give it a quick twist. This is a snail Danish right here. This would be a figure 8. You fold it together like such, and you fold it over top. This would have 2 fillings, one there, one there. This would have 1 filling. You understand? Again, I'll show you the figure 8. There's a test on this one. You got to know them all at the end. Fold it 1/3, another third, and fold it over top. Figure 8. I love this one here, the last one I'm going to show you. It's like something that you put into a muffin cup. Cut these. And then roll them up. And then cut them in half. And then put like them next to each other in a muffin pan. You see that? Again, I'll show you again. I love making this out of bread dough, out of dead dough. It's like to do a whole bunch of different plaques. You put them in a muffin little cup and they blossom like a beautiful flower. Put the filling in the middle of it, and again, it's a little different, you know? I'll show you. Just put 3 down like that. Don't crunch the layers, okay? Roll it from the center. Take it. Put them together like this. And this is how they are baked. So, with this said, I'm going to finish up over here. With this said, I hope everybody has a better understanding. It's simple. A dough locked with fat. Make sure that the fat is of any kind of variations that you can think of. Something creative, even if you're making a chocolate butters or if you're making any kind of compound butters that you could utilize in there, I got to tell you, you're going to be onto something different, not the same old product. And you know what? If you're different, you're going to be ahead of the game. So thank you very much, everybody. Loved having you guys. You're awesome. Appreciate it. If you want to take some pictures over here, come on up, or some of the croissants.
The Caribbean Junior Dueling Challenge gets started next week with the National Dish Round. Be sure to join us then.
CJCC Media, the place for your culinary satisfaction.